understanding. We're on a mission from God.
Because remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
They shouldn't have given you Ashy Bloke's YouTube.
Cursed be the ground, for our sake. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for us. For out of the ground we were taken, for the dust we are. And to the dust we shall return.
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
All right, good people. This is me punching the clock on a hump day, Wednesday. Greeting you guys. It's going to be something that's come up over the weekend, especially. And I had 2 requests, or 3 or 4 requests to do this particular videos, review these 2 particular videos, and they both came up basically at the same time, because I was actually discussing this with, my arch rival May about DNA testing, which is a main point, which is probably, I do believe it was in one of like the #1 point for Dr. T's blackmail political agenda, and it's gone global. Anyhow, Adric was #1. It's always good streaming when Adric is #1. Martin, what's going on? Batting 2nd. Batting 3rd is Paul Bunyan. Criminal penalties for paternity fraud should be right up there with welfare fraud and insurance fraud. Yeah, it should be, but don't hold your breath. Captain Obvious, what's happening? Luther, Kevin, Eddie, what's up, man? How's the NYC? Tunnel Runner, what's going on? Devon, Free Agent Triple OG, CC Puede, yes we can. Prince, what's going on? Ignatz, PPGS just found out that it's legal for a man to get a DNA test in France, prove paternity without an order from a judge. This comes with a fine and jail time. Okay. Yeah, it is illegal. Yeah, for a man to get a DNA test in France. Yeah, they made that. Because they have so many. France needs children, and to keep the children and family stable, the state says we don't care. Okay, deal with it. But the thing, one thing France does, they give you a lot of governmental support, so most people don't mind. Kennard, what's going on? Very Little, what's happening? AL, what's happening? Black Males, what's going on? What is Dusty DNA testing for 1 million or 1 million, Alex? Dame Digital, what's happening? Dr. Goodbar, what's happening? LS Active, what's going on? Okay, see, we got our names back again. Okay, YouTube must have straightened their glitch out. I guess enough people complained. Michael, what's going on? Luke Brandt, what's happening? Carl Hudson, what's going on? Oh yeah, what's happening? Dust Free Apple. I think I have a little dust on it, trust. LXT, what's going on? Are you Ubering tonight? Okay. You sound like Edward. Barry Hamilton, what's going on? B-Row, what's going on? Luke, what's going on? Horowitz, what's happening? Bo Johnson, what's going on? Yeah, if you walk into a room with a strag and they get to dissing you, man, shake their dust off your sandals and keep walking. Okay. What's going on, Don Calypso? Quentin, what's happening? The Will, Inspired Truth. Shannon Green, Think or Die, what's up? Look forward to your Humanversity. Thank you. I'm still learning. Yeah, I'm going to try to boot it back up. There's the Woo Man. Hope you feel better. See. Charles got one of them whole diseases. I ain't going to say what. Charles messing with them strags. Mongo, gotta leave them strags alone, man. They give you all kind of stuff. Black Toxic, what's going on? Palm Beach Mike, what's happening? Louis, what's up? Big Bag's buying all the snacks. Trying to get it before the price goes up. Michael L, what's happening? Lloyd Hinton, what's going on? Compassionate, what's going on? Kenneth Austin, Kareem Austin, what's up, man? Ain't seen you in a minute. So half your jobs are changing out dusty AC filter. Yeah. Got to get prepared for the summer. Moses at Tanya, what's going on? Superstar Jay Quick, what's happening? Dr. Ells, what's going on? No matter why, for instance, in a hole. Yeah, well, they're in a hole now because they don't have Africa to pay for all them loose chilling. Gaylon, what's happening? Love Gun, what up? Landon, what's going on? May's the villain out of the Venture Brothers. I mean, there's a practical reason because Jamaica almost did the same thing, but the men were too adamant about it. I don't know. May, the thing is, the only problem with May is she thinks she's smarter than she actually is, and that's the problem with her. Michael Turner, what's going on? Coach DC, what's up? And we'll go ahead and get started. The problem with May is she thinks she's smarter than she actually is, and that's like if she doesn't listen. And basically, if there's something, any expert, Charles, any expert can tell within a couple of minutes where you know what you're talking about or not. Because there's certain things that everybody knows, okay? Okay, we're doing DNA testing, okay, at birth, and I got wind of it. Somebody sent me a couple of videos, and then right after that, Dr. T did his video, I think it was last week, on the same thing. So we'll start with that one, okay, because he put it in the agenda. He's the one that got the ball rolling, okay, so we're going to start with his. Beat him up just a tad. No, he's at 1.25 already, so we're cool. Okay, and this one is mandatory DNA testing at birth is long overdue. Okay, and he's responding to the Poor Man's podcast. And Poor Man is not, I think Poor Man is African, if I'm not mistaken. And so this stuff is spreading.
When they did a data collection of all of the paternity test centers in America, they found that 32% of fathers who got a paternity test were indeed not the father.
Yeah, and that's the average, right? In the black community is 41. 40% of the paternity tests of African American men say that he is not the father. Okay.
Of their children. Now you got to take this with a grain of salt because these were the men who already had suspicions, but y'all not hearing me. This problem is so bad in Jamaica, it's about 70%. When the men's rights activists in Jamaica wanted to make it so that paternity tests were mandatory at birth, they said that they wouldn't allow it because it would cause too much femicide, meaning too many men would find.
Yeah, in Jamaica, that's what they said. In Jamaica, but they eventually passed it like maybe a year or two later.
Find out that their children are not actually their children, and they would end up harming the women. They thought it was so bad that they shouldn't even make it a thing. In France, this problem is so bad that you're not even allowed to get a paternity test.
Yeah, basically, then this is France believes in social cohesion, so they're not. So that's been France has never allowed you to get a paternity test. Okay, that's not allowed in France. So what some Frenchmen do, they they send those paternity tests outside the country and get the paternity test done. Legally, they can't do anything with it legally, but the thing is, at least they know.
Unless it's ordered by a judge. They said, and I quote, that it would destroy and destabilize communities if they had mandatory paternity tests at birth. We literally have access to the alien technology that allows us to make sure that every father is actually providing for children that is biologically theirs, and our states and governments are going, nah, because that would mean women would have to be accountable.
No, what it means is, you got to remember, and this is something we found out with reading Caroline Norton and the Court of Chancery. The state doesn't care, okay? The children do not belong to you, okay? You have parental rights, okay? The children belong to the state. Same thing that France says, the children belong to the state, okay? You are assigned a duty to raise a child, but they let you pretend like that the child belongs to you because they want you to care for it, okay?
For the decisions that they make. And if you have this conversation with some women, they will really act offended. All I'm gonna say is I've never seen somebody wearing real diamonds afraid of a diamond test.
That's real talk. You know, that's real talk. This is something we've been advocating for the last 5 years in the black male political agenda, mandatory DNA testing at birth. You know what I mean? And we do it because, you know, as much as we like to thump our chests, every man, you know, is not going to be able to have the wherewithal to require one, to demand one. You know, you might be a kid having your first baby with this girl. You know, there's a million different scenarios where somebody isn't just going to be, you know, going to have the capacity to require that. And any man that's ever had a kid where your mother and grandmother and her family are all in the room when this baby comes out, there's a lot of social pressure. Not everybody.
It is a lot of social pressure. Exactly. That's why that's how come I'm using why come. And that's my Baba. He's from St. Louis. He says it often. That's how come that we want to take it out of the hands of the individual and make it mandatory, so that woman, everybody knows that baby's going to get tested for DNA when it hits the hospital. Okay, everybody knows. So before the birth certificate can be signed or registered, got to have a DNA test and prove paternity, which is, I think, is fair.
Everybody can own up to. I mean, we can talk a lot of shit online about what we would do, but when you're standing in that room with this girl who just gave birth, you know, not everybody's going to be able to have the capacity to do it. So we need to have mandatory testing. But on the other end, I really appreciate this brother putting this out there because, you know, it was clear, it was concise, and he laid out some of the evidence we've been talking about for years over on this side of YouTube. So I was glad to see it put together, you know, in just a few words. But this is also the work Carnell Smith has been doing for years. Shout out to that brother. I've had him on my show a couple of different times, even in the last month. So shout out to him. But this work needs to continue because society is comfortable with letting men pay the freight on, you know, kids that aren't even theirs.
Yep.
And if you make the mistake of actually signing the birth certificate, it's a wrap. Much of the time, even if you prove the child
the state doesn't care,
isn't yours, you still have to pay. So 18 years of child support or whatever is taxing, but it's particularly unfair when you're not actually the father. And of course, women are not necessarily interested in justice as far as that's concerned. They're interested in self-preservation. I just posted on my YouTube page on the community tab one of the recent videos by that brother named Darwin. His last name escapes me at the moment, but he did an excellent show on this very topic, and he highlighted from
Darwin McPherson. We're going to show that one next.
A panel discussion he was on, the hypocrisy, even from Black women who believe and support the idea that men shouldn't be held accountable for babies that aren't theirs. They still, within the course of the discussion, turned around and blamed the men who aren't the fathers. You know what I mean? So it's necessary that we got to push for this. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, they blame. Well, guess what? They blame men who weren't the fathers because what?
I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
Well, the black male political agenda it doesn't just apply to this point; it applies to all of them. Even if we can't immediately get policy on any given issue, writing the issue out and outlining the policy we want gives people, Black men in particular, but men in general, the opportunity to at least understand the issue if they've never thought about it before, and act accordingly. You know what I mean? So if you don't get the policy you're looking for, or we haven't gotten it yet, hell, we may never get it, you can still operate in response to the issue itself. So whether it's going abroad as a passport bro, whether it's going IBMOR, whether it's or going monk altogether, however you choose to deal with the possibility of paternity fraud, the fact that you're dealing with it is really the goal of the agenda. It's not just to outline policy. That's the obvious aspect of it. It's also to outline that this is an issue seriously enough to deal with yourself. So, wearing condoms, making sure that you're getting, you're being careful, whatever your strategy is, at least take the issue seriously enough to have a strategy. And that is the real underlying goal for all of these agenda items. To what extent we may not be able to
Protect your seed. Protect your seed at all times.
to get policy right away, have you taken steps in your own individual life to account for these issues happening to you? You know what I mean? And so in regard to this, knowing that women by and large are not going to support this. And anytime the conversation comes up, they don't. They cape for each other, they advocate for each other, and they're happy to do it at your expense. So have you planned for this? Have you dealt with it? Brother talked about Jamaica. There were some other studies in Nigeria, and of course here in the US. All of it points to the fact, and he actually added in France as well. I hadn't run across that one, but none of these countries really want to push that policy. And I think France's response to that, as he laid out, was exactly why societies would collapse under holding women accountable. So they're
Yeah, they would. It would. Families are the bedrock of society. If you break it up, guess what's going to happen to society? It's going to get this done. Can you imagine 100%, 100% single motherhood? Man, that would be wild.
going to resist doing it until men apply enough pressure to where it's a necessity. But that pressure doesn't mean you're necessarily holding signs in the street. As we're seeing society and women in particular responding to the pressure of men withdrawing socially, in terms of labor, in terms of dating, in terms of marriage, as men have withdrawn, that is a form of protest. That is a form of pressure. And people are responding to it. This is why a lot of the topics discussed in the Black Manosphere have gone global, because the issues themselves are global. And as more men hear it and start to agree with it, there's pressure. So we need to keep that up. Women may get in the streets and protest. That's their form of applying pressure. Men don't have the same kind of opportunity. I mean, we can do it, but there's no social empathy for us. And that's one of the ways that street protests and whatnot, that's one of the ways that works. Now, economic protests, withdrawing your dollars, that works. And that works for men as well, if we can organize well enough to do it. But this new kind of social pressure that I'm talking about is men withdrawing from social participation. Yep. And
that is literally MGTOWs trying to tell the MGTOWs, like, 13 years ago, okay, that this is a protest movement. Okay, in other words, MGTOW says if they don't want to give us a fair shake, don't participate, and that's MGTOW. And basically, MGTOW thought they were going to be this little tiny idea, a little tiny group. The thing is, if you plant a seed in fertile soil, right, it's going to grow. Okay, and the women kept watering that seed and fertilizing that soil. So this idea of MGTOW just started to blossom, and now it's growing out of control. They don't know what to do with it.
Withdrawal is a form of protest and does apply enough pressure to the point where people are responding. Matter of fact, this last presidential election, one could argue, was heavily dependent on the pressure we provided. Why? Because on the left, they dismissed men's issues altogether. But the right, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, picked up those issues and ran with it. Part of how Trump got into office was catering to men's voices, men's concerns. Like it or not, that opened up an entirely new door for future political, electoral campaigns. Now men are on the map with an articulated voice about their concerns. This was something that Trump's son alerted him to, and he took advantage of it to the detriment of the Democrats, who decided to ignore men, rolling with the policy that we're just toxic. That cost them an election. You can bet that whether it's incremental or major in the next upcoming elections, both parties will be taking men seriously. I mean, we all know the Democrats just dropped over 20 million to try and figure out how to address men's issues, to understand what men are talking about. That comes about because of the pressure we've applied. So we can't let up. We can't let up. We apply pressure in our own way. We protest in our own way. And in regard to this issue of paternity fraud, which the courts want to ignore, which the government wants to ignore, men are not going to ignore it. And this may very well, as it seems to be, become a global issue. And I think, what we've seen in the Poor Man's broadcast a moment ago is outlining that very thing. This is becoming a global issue. And there are others, but this is a major one. We're tired of just accepting what we're told to respond to, and we're withdrawing from doing so. I'm seeing men as young as 12, 13 years old, all the way up through 80, who are abandoning their social role in families, in relationships.
I just heard women complaining about that. In fact, there was a TikTok. I can't remember where it was, where they're complaining about the red pill being infiltrating down to 10-year-olds. Okay.
In society in general, because they've been made pack mules, not thanked, not acknowledged. I mean, men don't even require much but some respect, but there's no respect given. And in fact, we're told that we're toxic and monstrous. So yes, the withdrawal has many roles. It's not just laziness. It's not just abandonment. That's how many feminists want to categorize it, or pundits, societal leaders. But with enough pressure, they begin to understand it's not just about laziness at all. It's actually a new form of protest, or at least a form of protest that is being reintroduced to a population that may have long since forgotten about it, because men haven't banded together to say very much in quite a while. And it's happening. So I'm happy to see it. And I think we need to keep pushing it because it's important, because it's absolutely important. You have people that have grown comfortable with society picking up the tab for, them doing whatever they want as it pertains to having children, knowing that they can live off of society's largesse.
Yeah, well, those days are over, okay? Because the West ain't got no more money.
But secretly, what people don't want to say out loud is that men are the one, even through taxes, that pay for all this. And then they're doubly hit by going into court and being given child support, regardless of the parentage of the child. And we know that there are cases where men have literally been thrown in jail and given,
given
Now you
years,
gotta take this with a grain.
given years, yep, given years.
People casually talk about it, people who are unlettered or at least not at full-on academics. And that was the goal, to get this stuff enough into the Black male mainstream that brothers could articulate it in casual speech. And so now that I'm seeing that, I'm saying there's an opportunity for us here to keep pushing, and it's going to spread to other issues. So if you're not familiar with what other issues are on the table, again, go through the Black male political agenda. The link is in the description, and look through the various items. This is not something I wrote. This is a product of the Onyx Report community, and over 40,000, mostly Black men, articulating policies that suit their interests. Right now, it's the 19-point Black male political agenda. And you can find that pretty easily if you Google it. You can also put my name in with it, yours truly, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, and you will see in detail what we are concerned about, because these things need to be addressed.
Yeah, and you can see them. You can see these ideas start to filter out. And started with the Black men, and now it's spreading to all men. Okay, the whole group. So yeah.
And they're finally starting to get their due in terms of their public acknowledgement. But yeah, so we can't wait on society to decide that it's unfair. We damn sure can't wait on women to include it in their politics. They've made it clear that they're not going to address this issue unless they're backed into a corner and forced to address it. They're not going to be accountable until they're backed into a corner and forced to be accountable. And they are happy to use you in lieu of accountability, as long as it's comfortable for them, right? And then society will turn around and shame us for even challenging an unjust charge of false parentage if it means that the government doesn't have to pay for it and a man will. I mean, all of these things need to be called into question.
Exactly. They in the 80s they started saying that we can't afford this. We have to dump this back onto the backs of men.
So from China to Australia to in Canada, you're seeing men starting to really push back against these narratives. So I hope you'll join us in doing so. Continue to apply pressure and help us to expand this vocabulary, expand our set of issues, come up with policy ideas, articulate frustrations, and really begin to push for an unveiling of the relationship between policy and social behavior in terms of how people act, what people do. In other words, my book deals with how policy has impacted Black women's social behavior and their treatment of men and boys. We need to keep pushing along those lines to make clear that men's treatment, or I should say mistreatment, will no longer be tolerated. And we are politicizing to the extent that we're analyzing how we're treated, where it comes from, why, and how it should be reversed. So I thank you for taking this time to listen, and I look forward to reading your comments. All right, peace.
Yep. That's we're gonna get ready to play the one with McPherson. Okay. But the thing is, there's been several of these things have been popped up about DNA testing, and it's all over TikTok. It's all over Instagram about DNA testing. So everybody thought it was what's the point? They're never going to change, or we can't do anything because I've heard that, man. I used to hear that all the time. That social media cannot change things. Okay, you got to get out in the street. You got to protest. You got to go down to your local politician. Yada 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 yada. I said there's a way to do things. Okay, if you can get enough people to apply enough pressure, okay, guess what? Your politicians, your leaders are going to feel that pressure, okay? You ain't got to get it. I mean, getting out in the streets and burning stuff will bring attention. But the thing is, there's other ways of doing things, right? And basically, we have done the slow, methodical work of pushing these ideas and these principles out into the world, right? And now it's not only having an effect locally or nationally, but also globally. Okay, we have laws that have been passed in other countries as a direct result of what the ideas that we have been pushing out. Okay. If a woman gets tricked into sex, it's a crime, but if a man gets tricked into fatherhood, it's just what a man is supposed to do. Now, protect yourself, gentlemen. Yep. Lydell Jefferson, appreciate you. Ed Burrs, yep. I mean, the thing is, I don't know why it's such a big deal, especially when the technology is so available. It's not hard, okay? It's not hard. I know it was new when I think the first time people really heard of this testing was with the OJ trial, and now the technology, and that was what over 33 years ago. This technology has blossomed to the point where it instead of taking a week or two, it takes a day. Sometimes it really doesn't even take that, but it probably takes like hours. So I'm sure they're gonna come up with a same day DNA test in a minute. Okay. Now this is the one with McPherson. Okay. Now this is the one they're talking about. This is the one that everybody was requesting me to actually comment on. Okay. We'll play. He starts off with the judge shows. We're gonna play a little bit of that, and then we're gonna dig into the meat. Well, the thing is, it's hard because they know men will stand on business. Same thing with the courts, right? Okay, about men, about them favoring the women, right? And nobody talks about the 10 years doctrine, right? Because it hasn't been brought up. And me and Dr. Gigi had to go not only go find it, but also find it's a precedent, right? The precedent goes all the way back to the 16th century with the court of tenures, okay, the Tenures Act. That's where it started, and then it blossomed. It blossomed under the Industrial Revolution with rich white women wanting to take their babies, okay, and the babies didn't belong to them. And so we actually talked about the Court of Chancery in London and the 10 years doctrine being established in 1839. After Caroline Norton's protest, and then it got adopted into the United States, and it's still with us. The Court of Chancery is still with us. That's how come the family court operates completely outside of the regular court proceedings. It's a completely different entity. Completely different entity. Now they don't even need to wait until the child is born. We take a blood test of the male and the female because the pregnant female has the father's DNA in her bloodstream. Yep, it sure will. It sure will. There's a way of doing it, and the baby's DNA is going to be in her bloodstream. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. But the thing is, I had reason I'm doing it today rather than the revolts thing on the Snow Bunny crisis is because I've gotten so many people requesting me review this. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of this because some of this is just judge shows, and we want to get into the meat of it after this. We're gonna play a couple of his DNA reveals from judge shows. Okay.
Messing around with anybody else throughout the time that we were messing around. So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington is your child's biological father? Oh, she was in and out of the hospital. When we was in the hospital, we had did it. I really do believe that's the day that
At the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we did it at the
Yes,
hospital.
ma'am.
I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't in November. When
And
she
I also didn't get pregnant in
You didn't get-
November neither.
okay.
I didn't conceive in November.
He guy number one baby though. So you just an anonymous tipper, huh? You
I
questioned
was
this at
dropping on the way
first.
back from work.
Can't tell you who I am. She won't tell me nothing else. And she was blanking guy number two. That's how you found out she was pregnant. Never mind guy number one and guy number two. On a regular basis,
Yeah,
I don't answer the
she
call.
do ignore my
For him to say that I was trying to hide, I didn't pick up the phone or
But you
something
never told
like
me you
that.
was pregnant though.
I did.
Black women, what man? When black women lie, man, Jesus, they lie so much. They, black women are so dishonest, man. It's ridiculous. I don't know why we even listen to them half the time, because half the stuff they say are lies.
No, you didn't. I found out in January.
I found out in January too. That's
No,
when
you
I went to go, when I found out that I was pregnant.
So all
It
the missed
was-
periods. I'm a possible father. I don't want to have missed the birth.
She,
So
she know the missed periods. Come on now, they tell blatant lies.
I can real myself.
I knew that he was going to always be there.
I am going to always be there for my child, but you can't be pinning. You know what I'm saying? You trying to pin this child on
So
me?
you showed up for the birth.
No.
You didn't sign a birth certificate, but you wanted to give her your last name.
I want to go home
didn't
to
say
his
that.
mama because
Yeah,
he has
you,
from.
well,
I'm
you
still
still
there.
there.
Oh, that's
So
right.
you irrelevant. Irrelevant.
These women, boy.
She don't even know nothing.
You believe this is an
Now, see, you see that all that kerfuffle, all that arguing back and forth that's going on. Okay, it was DNA testing at birth. Guess what? None of this would go on. None of this would go on. There would be no arguments, right? It'd be handled because it's already a known procedure. And all this squawking back and forth between families, none of that shit would happen. Women love to go squawk about nothing, okay?
Entire concocted story because he doesn't want to break up with his now girlfriend because he don't have no job.
Here come the DNA results.
You are not.
Told you.
What?
Told you.
Are
bro.
you serious?
Told you. Can I really rock?
You're still lying. She's still lying.
No, you can't.
Sorry.
No, you can't. You know why?
Same
Because you have another child with her, so you're not gonna clown in here.
Shocking DNA test results revealed in paternity court.
During the time of conception, who were you sleeping with? Do you believe that as well, or do you have some doubts?
Well, I have my doubts as well because I wasn't around her a lot of the time during the conception of him and what she's saying, but I don't think my family would lie to me and, tell me anything wrong to set me off track. I did not sign it because of what my mom said. I signed it for my own reasons. I didn't know for sure if he was mine or not, and I didn't want to have to go through a lot of things that people were telling me, like it was going to be very hard for you to get the name.
That's exactly why you have to have DNA tested at birth. What he's actually saying, he was under pressure and he was confused, so he took the easy way out, right? Well, you know that baby ain't yours. Look at that baby.
Change or do a lot of things if he's not sure and you find out all late.
With the Asian eyes.
Pregnant. Never mind guy number one and guy number two.
Find out all late.
To see her do well. And on top of that, if that's my nephew, yes, I'm gonna step up as an auntie and help raise my nephew. But we have no choice to be here today for a paternity test because of the rumors and how she carries herself as a woman. In your mind, there's no one else that could be the father of this child. You're certain of that.
You're lying.
And since Cameron's been born, have they treated him well, like family? No, they have not. They don't have to want him. The only reason why he got a DNA test is for him. We're claiming that 4 other men are claiming to be
Wow.
out there.
Wow.
And maybe
Four. You know, look at her lie.
others, but she's known. They got all this time on their hands. I don't think. They got all this time on their hands.
All that clattering, man. Take the goddamn test, right? That's why they did it.
DNA results are in.
In the case of Thomas and Fields versus Armster and Griffin, as it pertains to 5-month-old Cameron Armster, Mr. Griffin, you are not. You claim you were duped into naming the baby and signing her birth certificate, and now the DNA test.
Okay. We could do this all day. Okay. We could do this all day. Let's skip to the next segment. Okay.
I don't think there's any issue with a man taking care of another man's child.
Voluntarily, you have an argument, but we are talking about men being forced involuntarily to take care of another man's child.
So, ladies, this got me thinking. Do you think, what if there was a day where maternity tests were actually, mandatory?
Do you know who your baby daddy is?
I'm sorry, maternity. You guys, what if there was a day where paternity tests were actually mandatory? Why
Do you
aren't
know
they?
who your baby daddy is?
I do.
Exactly.
That is so disingenuous. Guys, does it not surprise you that the one who pushes back in this particular conversation happens to be a black woman?
Yes.
These are the type of women who will go online and scream, black men are behind, black men don't protect black women.
But can I say this honestly? Yes. If they were mandatory, I would proudly take one because I want you to know.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly.
You to know. I don't understand why they're not mandatory.
Yeah,
I feel that parents should
Yes.
absolutely know
Well,
what they've
that's
contributed to,
because
and
I was
children
reading
should
about that.
absolutely definitively know who their parents
Yes.
All
are.
my cards. Look,
That I was reading about that, and there are activists that are trying to get a law to make it, but it's not.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yeah, say our name. Say our name, black girl. Say our name. You know who we are. You don't want to give us any more press, okay?
Because for some women, they feel that it would make more of a stigma.
Ma'am, that is a poor excuse. There is already a stigma. This mandatory law would actually reverse this. She haven't taken the time to acknowledge that her white massa would have not made millions off our embarrassing TV takes of the "You Are Not the Father" dramas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Against women, you know,
It makes
men
a stigma if you don't want to share the results. Yeah, right.
Wow. Black women tend to be the most enrolled and argue they are the most educated.
Yeah.
But when you put them around other races of women,
yeah,
their level of intelligence appears to be exposed. And in this case, in a very bad way.
Right. It becomes a stigma. If it was just mandatory and it was all over, the stigma would actually go away.
Yeah.
It gets weird because people got to be asking you, am I your baby father? More.
Yep. Say it again. Is she white? No, she's probably Latino.
Povich moments, you know? Are you the father?
But don't
if
you
it was
think
just
it's
mandatory and we just
responsibility that two people have sex and there's a possibility that woman's going to get pregnant? That it's a mature.
It has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. They always do this shit, okay? They always try to put morality in it, okay?
Decision that, yeah, you are the father.
Ma'am, this is not a one-on-one situation. This is a one-to-many situation. A woman who conceived after sleeping around. So it is not a matter of maturity. It's a matter of immaturity and fraudulent behavior.
You should know. But I think the stigma goes away when it becomes mandatory. When it becomes the norm that everyone has to do this, this is just the way it is. We're just checking to make sure. Just like you get all the tests when you are pregnant. That's it. You're blood test, you're making sure the dad's healthy, you're making the mom's healthy.
Well, it's good
Let's
for
just make sure it's your baby.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
It's good for the genetics.
Absolutely.
I will say that.
No. It is good for everything across the board, not just the genetics. This woman has lowered the importance of this matter down to just the genetics. Typical.
But I think that there's still an issue with it's stigmatizing. Women are already like, it's like.
Shut the fuck up.
Say it again, black man. Say it again. Now he was on, the reason he's doing this is because he's part of Anton's crew, right? And they were going back, is it Anton? I think it was Anton. And they were going back and forth about this crap. And these women were saying some wild shit, okay? And he was holding his head. But that'll come up in a minute. How come when you sign the birth certificate, the man is bound for life? It's because a birth certificate is a contract, okay? A birth certificate, when you sign it, you're signing a contract with the state, assigning you parental responsibility, okay? But if somebody murders someone 10 years later, they can be set free and make it make that sense, because the person that the person that is accused of murder, okay, the state has to prove that he's done it, right? That person didn't voluntarily say I killed somebody. He didn't sign a contract with the state, okay? When you sign a birth certificate, you're signing a contract with the state to take responsibility for their child. Okay, that's why. They're legally binding contracts.
Shame on you, woman. I think we heard enough from her.
A London medical ethics expert has criticised the sale of over-the-counter DNA paternity tests as irresponsible and potentially damaging to children. The kits went on sale at a pharmacy chain in East London today, as Sarah Harris reports.
How is it damaging to children? How is a cheek swab damaging to children?
This box could hold the answer to your baby's paternity, and you can buy the DNA kit over the counter at a Hackney chemist. It's one of the first places in the UK to stock the test in a shop, and they expect demand to be as high here as it has been in America. But whatever the cost, one leading ethics organisation says the information can only damage children.
I don't think children are going to be sufficiently protected in this instance. These tests are not being done for the benefit of children, and they will inevitably be done without the child's consent. It's simply not for medical reasons.
Without the child's consent, anything to protect their shit, okay?
But for disputing, warring couples who the father in question wants to either accept or reject the child.
That is his right.
Yes.
What the fuck is she talking about?
Yeah.
No one cares about the child, really. Damn sure don't care about the man in the situation either.
Like, I mean, there's people raising the kid either way, so like, why does it matter?
Damn.
See,
Why is it that so many black women?
There's always a black woman, right? Okay.
Women are okay with this in spite of a community that is in the rubbish largely.
Well, the reason is because especially in America, our culture, right? Slave culture. Okay, so basically, the mother could have kids by anybody. Okay, and who the man in the house had to raise all the kids. Okay, it doesn't matter because that's the way it was. Okay, and when we got out of bondage, we kept those same practices. That's how come black men are willing to be stepfathers more than any other race, is because it's normalized for our culture. Okay, so man, why do you have to keep going back in history? Is because we think that what we are doing is normal, and it's normal for everybody, and it's not. There's a reason that we carry these practices, right? That's why. That's like a black woman believe they have a right to a stepdaddy.
Because of the breakdown of the nuclear family. How is this even possible?
So which would actually alleviate a lot of the.
You're telling me
alleviate.
that there's a high likelihood of women marching for gender nonconforming than there is changing the rules on illegitimate children.
For sure.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Once you sign that birth certificate, it's over, and especially if you married her.
Once you sign that birth certificate, it's over. In other words, the trap is closed once you sign that birth certificate, and they know it, and they count on that.
That's even worse.
I can't believe we have these type of women, bro.
You're definitely not getting your neck off the hook.
Look at his face. Look at his face, right? Look at his face. Okay, look at him hold his head.
It's almost a guarantee it's not going to come off. I know in the state of Alabama.
Look at him getting mad all over again.
For sure. It doesn't matter if the biological father around or not. That husband is still legally responsible for that child. It's going to really take that woman.
It doesn't matter whether the biological father is around or not. That husband still needs to be responsible for that child because you're it.
To say, you know what? She's going to have to be the one to release him from those things.
Wait a minute. She's going to have to be the one to release him from them things? Are you kidding? So in other words, you have no power. You are a slave.
Me that went through this years ago. She went through this personally. The law would not allow her that man off the hook.
So it's left up to her, and if she hates me,
it's left up to her. It's 100% left up to her. Yeah.
So can men be responsible for who you guys get pregnant? Like, can you wrap it up maybe, and then you don't have to worry about it?
That's a
how you jump to that.
Exactly. You know how she jumped to that? You know how she jumped to that? You know how? Say it with me, fellas. Say it with me, okay?
I'm done. I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault. I'm done.
Basically, when you can't settle number two, always go back to what number one. It's always Jermaine's fault, right?
Hold on.
That doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter.
It's mama's baby, daddy's maybe. The daddy's is
always. I agree with you with that.
The daddy's is the one complaining saying they don't know if it's their kids. So I'm like, if you wrap it up, would you have to really be worried about it?
No, hell no. Hold on, Ray, are you fucking serious?
I'm dead.
Oh, shit. So you gonna sit here and tell me we gonna jump from women being paternity fraud to say, oh man, you should have wore a condom anyway, rather than saying women should be lying about who the father is?
Y'all do the same thing about if it's y'all do the same thing to women. Y'all blame women.
We was talking about if
making better decisions.
So are you?
Y'all blame. How does that? How is that? Okay, from not making better. Well, that's female logic, right? It's always your fault. Okay.
So you want to jump in the mud? You're gonna be the moral high ground.
Neither one. I'm just saying what makes sense. Both of you guys are responsible.
Both
of you guys are responsible. So why can't the men be responsible for the part?
How is he responsible for a kid that's not his?
They're playing it.
We was also talking about married people. It was some of them. We was talking about married people too.
So you saying the wife lied about who the kid was by? That's different.
How is it both?
But still, you told the man to wrap it up though. I said if it's the wife, obviously it's different.
No, hold on, lady. How is it both people's fault that she lied about who the father was knowingly?
I didn't say it was nobody's fault. I said, can the men be responsible for the part they
How is a man responsible for her lying about who the father is?
He's responsible for potentially knocking her up.
No, how is he responsible for her lying?
He's not responsible for her. He's responsible for himself. That's the point I'm making.
How would he be responsible, even if he did bust?
Why do you keep deflecting?
Hold on, wait, no, I got it. I'm trying to make her make it logical. How would he be responsible, even if he busted inside of her for her lying?
He's not responsible for her lying. He's responsible for busting inside of her. What part are you not understanding?
What does that have?
What does that have to do with what we're talking about? Okay, I always go back. You stepped into the trap, right? Okay, you left your You left your wallet exposed. So when I pickpocketed you, you're responsible for it. But the thing is, that still makes you a thief. Black women display the dysfunctional mindset to the world and wonder why the NFL and NBA draft looks the way it does. Learn or perish, young black men. Okay, the thing is, it's not dysfunctional. Basically, what shame, insults, guilt need to be right. Okay, this is a form of shaming and guilting the man. If you busted inside of me, you have to take what comes with it, even me lying.
Have to do with her because the conversation. Exactly. So why did you bring it up?
Because I said both sides need to be looked at since two parties were
both sides cannot be looked at in a scenario where she's lying. There is no both sides in that.
Right.
I'm saying how you could prevent it so you won't be on here crying saying somebody.
There is no preventing somebody lying. Hold on, wait.
You on here crying saying somebody scammed you about being a dad. I'm saying how you could prevent it as a man.
There is no. Do you know?
If you wrap it up, she can say the condom broke. Okay. She'll tell you that. She'll say the condom must have broken. Okay. There is no. Wrapping it up is not 100%. Okay. Everybody knows the condom is not 100%. Wrapping it up is not good enough because she will lie.
You do know that people get lied on even if they never had sex with a woman, right?
Sweeney has a point, but these women do not get these truths in their algorithms due to their interest in what they watch. So it is not their reality, which is why men like myself.
According to that logic, no man should ever have a child. That way he would never be responsible. Oh, I don't understand that one, Roger.
And other creators consistently attempt to stay relevant on these topics in hopes that maybe if we would build a large enough audience, the content will be shared so much that they would have to intentionally ignore it. Unfortunately, even over 100K subs, I myself have yet to be able to pierce the...
Okay, Charles says, respectfully, remember when I told Anton to his face about the behavior and intentions of women, especially black women all those years ago? Yep, I remember. Man, he knows. Man, he's in Detroit. He knows. Okay, but thing is, how does he get paid?
The threshold. So please like and share this.
When? Who lied and said they smashed him? Who lied and said they smashed him?
There was a story in Detroit.
Who lied and said they smashed him?
What? This woman clearly is out of touch with how the women she is defending move in today's society.
Information in a story first exposed about the state ordering a Detroit man to pay child support.
I remember that.
Everybody agrees isn't his.
The man was in jail. Okay, the man was in jail. He gets out of jail. He's in a paternity court because he was named the father. Named the father. This cat was in jail at the time she got pregnant, and she to get child support, to get the welfare. She named him as the father. It took him years to get off.
News reporter Kim Russell tells us the court has made him a wanted man until he pays up. When I exposed this story, I thought someone a friend of the court would fix a clear injustice. Instead, a warrant has now been issued for Carnell Alexander's arrest. For him, it's deja vu. In 1991, during a traffic stop, Carnell Alexander got a shock. Police arrested him. His crime? Being a deadbeat dad.
I knew I didn't have a child, so I was kind of blown back.
He told 7 Action News he would later learn this happened because his ex needed help.
I had to turn to welfare to get assistance, to take care of them, and I had to put him down as the father. That was the only way I can get assistance.
Exactly. See, she put him down as the father to get assistance, right? She didn't tell him, and they didn't check.
That started a paternity case. A process server then turned in this paper saying Carnell had been notified at a house in Highland Park. So when he didn't show up at court, he was legally listed as dad. The problem? Carnell didn't get notified. He wasn't even at a house in Highland Park. He was in prison for a crime he committed as a young man.
So apparently this is not
See? He was in prison at the time. He's in prison. And there's records of him being in prison. He could not possibly be the father. But thing is, the state does not care.
Isolated situation. Thousands of men are going through this in the state of Michigan. Guys, check your state laws. So this does not happen.
Yeah, but did they go after her for fraud? No. They're after him for money, and she defrauded him. They clearly defrauded him. Did they go after her? No, they did not.
And by the time he learned about the paternity case, judges told him it was too late. Legally, he owes the state more than $30 grand for assistance paid to care for a child.
I did not father, that I did not biologically create or spend any time with throughout my life. I find that very unfair.
Carnell says he won't pay. He tells me tomorrow he will turn himself in.
I will go to jail if I have to because I'm tired of the situation of the mishandling of the case.
I don't think that's right.
Murray Davis from the National Family Justice Association says there are thousands of men in Carnell Alexander's shoes.
So even if you take a test and are not the father, you will still have to pay the debt and continuing child support for a child that is not yours.
Because Michigan does not have paternity fraud laws that protect men.
Michigan does not recognize paternity fraud in the sense that a person who has been found not to be the father is relieved of those obligations.
I did reach out to a friend of the court and was told that they cannot comment on open and active cases. Carnell, in the meantime, plans to go to court and turn himself in tomorrow with his attorney, who hopes to convince a judge to let him go free. We'll let you know what happens.
What do you guys think that judge did? Let me know in the comments.
What if I told you that there's a plethora of women that are name dropping just random names on birth certificates? And motherfuckers is getting the letter where you owe 10,000 child support. I'm like, I don't even know.
Sign it.
Wait, you have to sign that. That's not how a birth certificate works, Darwin.
No.
You can put, so look, you can put a name on a birth certificate, but if he doesn't.
No, they can name the father. You don't have to sign it.
Sign it within a certain amount of days, that name gets rejected.
That's how the law in America works.
Clearly, a lot of women are out of touch of what's going on. These women are currently nurturing the Black communities in America, and they are oblivious to the maliciousness of the sisterhood. I believe they're lying.
They're lying. You know, and the worst liars are the women that are in that are educated. Them educated, so-called most educated Black women are the main ones lying because they know the truth. Okay, they know the truth. You could lay out facts in front of them, okay, and they'll still lie because it doesn't line up with how they feel. Look up the case. Wayne County, Michigan, Black man was paying child support on a dead child for 20 years. But the thing is, they don't go after the woman for fraud. Okay,
they know.
Even in these cases where y'all would say, "Oh man, this is an obvious case," the way that the system is currently set up is not that easy for a man to just walk out of.
He don't get his money back either. He got to go.
And he don't get his money back.
Let me do a morality test. Ladies, show of hands. Would y'all fight for that to be put in the law?
What I fight for, but I find something.
You talking about mandatory DNA test?
If it requires y'all to go down to City Hall and say, "Hey, look, we need mandatory DNA tests at birth."
No.
What?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna march in the streets for it, but I will sign something for it. Cool.
This is what the Black community will continue to suffer from, and it's not the white man. So don't go there.
I heard that, Black man. You know, before I wasn't sure about you, but now I see where you coming from, man. I'm 100% behind this brother, man. I'm a subscriber to this brother. I'm 100% behind him, man. He got his Kevin Samuels tie on, man. He's got his little flame in the back, man. Do your thing, man. Make your $1 million. Make your $1 million. If I can help you make your $1 million, man, Negro, I will. Okay, make your $1 million. Make these broads pay. He should have a call in, okay, just like Kevin did. Because we need more Kevins out there. Have a call in talking to these broads, okay? Anyway, continuing. We got a few more minutes in this hour, man. This is funny.
I know how bad people in our community like to point the blame, but this particular matter appears to be self-inflicted.
I ain't marching in the street.
Yeah, I won't march, but I'll sign it. Yeah, I won't march.
Yeah. I'm not marching.
They won't march for the Black man. They won't march.
Because you have to stay in your place, okay? A Black man is, unless a Black woman is stepping on the back of a Black man, something wrong, okay?
For the child. What will they march for?
Coast to coast, an army of women.
We believe in women.
Defending reproductive rights.
I believe that we will win.
Texas's new restrictive abortion law powering the step of hundreds here in LA and thousands across the country.
They will march to destroy the seed, but not to accurately ensure the seed has its biological father documented and accounted for.
And this is Black women. We talk about the Black
women
community.
have been fighting for things all this time. Men, this is your issue. You're going to have to take it up.
What did she say? What did she say? This is your issue. You're going to have to do it, right? Shout out to the manosphere, right? This is your issue. You fight for it. You're goddamn right. SYSBM, because nobody's going to help you, Black man. Nobody coming to save you. Say it again, Black girl.
How is it our issue when y'all are the one lying?
She said, baby, it's June.
It's your job. SYSBM, okay? Okay? Ain't nobody coming for you. Scallywags would rather put a paternity test on a man they know damn well didn't father their kid than to have the actual father have visitation. The thing is, man, okay, Black women get pregnant by the jump offs more than any other group of women, right? Okay, just because the Peter feel good doesn't mean you should have a baby for the guy. Okay, and then once you have the baby for the guy, then you want to put it on the guy that's stable. Marry your jump off. Stop hiding him. Marry your concubine, because basically you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. You can't turn a concubine into a husband either. Cannot turn a concubine into a husband. So they have a baby and they use his baby to trap you in a marriage. They use his baby to trap you in a marriage. And they'll use their kids, okay, which is, I think I'm gonna play that. I think I'll do that one tomorrow because that's funny as hell. Their kids to trap you in a marriage, okay? They want an easy life. The kids are a come up to black women, believe it or not.
When I ain't marching nowhere.
I love your tattoo, by the way.
Nobody else.
I wanted to say I love your tattoo, by the way. Like her tattoo, I love it.
do remember you.
The tattoo that's stopping her from being feminine and getting
I agreed. I said I'll sign it. I won't march, but I said I'll sign it. So just deal with that.
I just said it
But you have to
requires
lead the charge. You're
a
leader.
group of people to
Yeah.
actually march.
Y'all can march.
For it to happen.
I will
Yes.
sign.
Hold on, lead, brother. Lead it. Leader.
It ain't the white man
They
that's
call
sending
the
us to
police.
court and putting our names down. It's them. And they saying, you know what? Yeah, I'll march if white man come and beat your ass, and I'll march for our kids. But if they come to me lying about who my kid's father is, or me putting that nigga on child support when I need it, I ain't marching for that shit.
You know what, Sweeney? I'm gonna tell you. Wait, hold up. I'm gonna tell you the one thing that I feel like it takes a lot of honesty.
That brother hot, man. Look at him. The thing is, this brother started out being blue pill, right? Okay. After talking to the black women, he shifted to purple pill. Okay. Now, when I first heard him, man, I thought he was purple pill, man. Man, this brother, you blinking red right about now. You are blinking red, okay? Okay, you're blinking a bright red right now. Look at
admit, and people won't admit it because it sounds fucked up. But in retrospect, I feel like in-house problems is in-house problems. So
this ain't in house. This is a society problem.
More likely for you to march for unaliving the kids in the stomach.
Yeah.
Or mandatory DNA test.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh, shit. Ooh.
Yeah, I gotta go march.
Ooh. Say it again, black man. It's called a knockout blow. That's some nasty work. Shout out to AC. Yep. The reach back is in effect. Operation Reach Back is just getting started.
For my homegirls, I'm
So
sorry.
that's why I said protect your seed. Protect your seed, black man. They're going to try to trap your ass with a baby to get them out of their economic crisis. The easiest way out for a black woman to get out of her economic morass is to do one of two things: either marry a man or have a baby on a man. Protect your seed. The white man is not playing. If he will charge you for that kid, if that test comes up, yes, guess what? You're on the hook, and they will hound you. Protect your seed, because these chicks are out hunting. They're out sperm hunting right now. Okay. And just like the NBA play, act like you're NBA players, right? You bust off in that condom, tie that bad up, and carry it with you. Do not leave that condom in her house, okay, or in the trash can. Flush it if you have to. We'll worry about the plumbing later.
Support unaliving of the infant, the fetus. But then, oh my!
Hey, Darwin, you gotta understand.
Where's the best place for a baby with their heavenly
Y'all remember the slut walk?
Oh, you see this shit? Where's the best place for a baby with their heavenly father? This is what they believe in. Okay, people think that black women are not for abortion. Okay, they are. They blame Margaret Sanger for what is it? Eugenics and trying to get rid of the black race. No, Margaret Sanger was in Harlem, and black women were begging her for birth control, begging her for abortion. Okay, begging her. They lie like, oh, we just this innocent flower, and this old evil white lady came in and she just passed stuff, and we just went along with it. Bullshit. You were begging her for it. Don't believe that.
So I think you're misunderstanding. It is not an insidious statement in the least. The thing is that you are expecting, again, women, black women on this panel specifically, to get up and do something for you. When you all are experiencing this problem, you need to get up and you need to go fight for yourself.
Exactly. Say it again, black woman. You need to, black men, stop feeling sorry for these hoes. Okay. Get up and fight for yourself. They're not your allies. Okay. They're not your, even though they cry, oh, well, it should be the black community. We need to work together. Bullshit. When it comes to helping you, guess what? You're always going to take second place. That's bullshit. I hear it all the time. They will support policies to destroy, break the family, but won't support policies to keep families together. But then ask, what about the community? What about the kids? Yep, exactly. When it comes to you doing stuff, they sure will. I said, men, that bitch will expect all black men to take a bullet for it. Yes, they do. They tell you that they do. You got to protect us. It was another brother who had never even met the woman and got clipped here in Detroit. Yep. So Ice Cube showing us that this years ago, right? Black male independence, right? And the thing is, compassionate, clip that, because she's saying it out of her own mouth. We are not going to march for you. We are not going to do something for you. We're not going to help you. You have to do it for yourself, okay? If you want something to happen, you got to do it for yourself. Damn what they say. Stop trying to protect their feelings. Oh, well, what about the black women? We have to convince them. We have to make them see. You don't have to make them see shit. Not to make them see shit. Forget the hell with them. Go do what you need to do. That's why women always cry about the black manosphere and how it's harmful. We talk about women. I always tell them, I'm not here to convince women of shit. I'm trying to get these brothers that are holding on to that notion of that black female, that black love. Fuck all that. Take care of business and let love come later. Do what you need to do. That's why SBM tax. That's why I believe in that, okay? That's why I bring all these scholars in, okay? So they can give you the language. So when you go into court, when you go in front of the politicians, you got that academic language to use on them. So when they start using all them $50 words, you can throw back $100 words at them with court cases and track records, okay, and historical precedent. And they go, oh my God, wait a minute, where'd you come from? And they have to go look some up. Dead Set said when he started pulling out the Court of Chancery and Caroline Norton and the Tenures Act, the judges had to go back and research that shit themselves. Okay, they had to admit shit that they were doing. They admitted it to him. The things we're trying to do is get people aware of what they're doing behind the scenes. I told May, it's my job to pull the curtain. Okay. It ain't my job to tell you what to do. My job is to pull the curtain so you can see the wizard. The wizard is not 50 feet tall. He's 5'6", pulling them levers. Okay, that's my job. Okay, these women are not here to help you. They're lying. It's a BGS Instant Classic Tax. Support your content creators. Appreciate you. I should have at least 400 likes on this one, man, because this is something y'all requested, okay? Y'all had a request for this. I had like 5 requests for this video, okay? Shout out to Darwin, okay?
Because when women have a problem, when we see something that is wrong and it is our problem, we go and we march.
And then you try to bully us and shame us into helping you. First thing you want to do is shame us into help. Oh, black men, you need to support us. Black men, you need to vote this way. Black men, you need to get behind us on this. That's bullshit. The first thing you want to do is basically shame us into helping you.
For it. We have gone to march for people in every spectrum. We are not doing this because if you have that much of a problem.
In other words, you'll march for Becky, Maria, Sing Lou, and everybody else, and for trans people and everybody else, but you won't help your black men straight out of problem that we are having in society. The hell with y'all. The hell with y'all. So every time they say, well, you know, black men don't want to marry black women, I know why. Every black man should see a black woman and run the other way. And run the other way. Until she proves herself. Every black woman should be on trial and prove herself to every black man. Otherwise, you shouldn't take her. If she don't, then she's just a jump off. She's a concubine. And like I said, you should leave her on the lot until you take that woman for a test drive and look under the hood. Leave her on the freaking lot, okay? Because this is how they really feel about you. And they're not even hiding it. Damn Digital says that's why it's BM. Appreciate you. Very little. Appreciate you. James Wingate says SYSBN passport, bro. Fuck them kids. Say. I'm serious. That's why I have the bear. They had the bear drop it. That's why I had the big bear with the Sox hat on. Right? Fuck them Cubs. That should be the national mantra. Every black man. Fuck them Cubs. Okay. In visas we trust. Yes, sir. Okay. And guess what? That's why I did with Passport Keisha, right? Passport Keisha will get on a plane, go 10,000 miles, and look for you. Let me find a black simp to take care of me. Okay? Why don't you stay in the States and there's plenty of black simps. Okay? That former simp didn't fly 10,000 miles looking for you, and you get mad when he turns you down. Anyhow, continuing.
You need to get up just like we do, and you need to go and fight for it.
Man, listen up. No law is coming to save you. At least not yet. Right now, you're on the hook the minute you sign that birth certificate.
And ain't nobody coming to save you. SYSBM.
Paternity fraud isn't rare. It's not a mistake. It's intentional.
Yes.
In contested cases, up to 1/3 of men are being lied to about being the father. In Jamaica, 12% of women admit to lying about paternity. Over 67% say they know someone who did. So if you think my girl would never, think again. In the United States,
No, they're chameleons, okay? They're not vampires. They're chameleons, okay? So they really are vampires. They want to drain the blood out of black men until we're dead. You see that all the time, man. Why you think you the stable guy to raise the kids and help the kids and pay for the kids? And in fact, there was somebody sent me a clip with this athlete, right? Said her mother had a stepfather that he loves, right? To help raise her 3 kids, and she calls him a simp. She calls him a simp behind his back. That's why I don't blame. I said that's how come I don't blame young brothers for not wanting to be stepfathers. If I was a young man today, I'd run the other way. Okay. If I was a young man today, I'd be hooking up with MS Delta and Theo to get the hell out of this country. Man, I'd have my visa and passport so fast. I don't care if I have to dig digits in Congo. I'd get the hell out of this country. Anyway, I said to be aware is to be alive. Yeah, that's the red pill. Okay. Yes says peace and blessings, BGS and chat. SYSBM is what it is. Okay. Let's finish it up and we out of here.
400,000 men are raising children who aren't biologically
it was more than that.
Theirs. And the courts don't care. You sign, you're paying.
Yeah.
DNA be damned. And here's the catch. Women are actively fighting against mandatory DNA testing. They say it creates distrust. No. What creates distrust is lying about paternity and locking a man into 18 years of financial slavery. They don't want it to be mandatory because they know what the results will show.
Yes.
That's why feminist groups kill every DNA bill that hits the floor. In Tennessee, dead. In Georgia, only tested if you fight for it. No test mandates DNA at birth. Not one. So here's your plan of action. Never sign a birth certificate without a DNA test, no matter what she says. Demand private testing within the first week. Do not wait. Do not negotiate. If she resists testing, that's your answer. Walk. Never assume your loyalty equals her honesty.
Yes.
Get confirmation, not comfort.
What did Reagan say to the Soviet Union? Trust but what? Trust but verify. Okay. Passport of Jesus. This attitude says lie down with us. You lie down. Don't believe nothing we say. Okay. You know what? I would love to tell you the story of my life. Okay. That's the story of my life. Do not trust these broads. Okay. Oh, I'm taking a pill. I got an IUD. I da 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 da. Bitches be lying. And I was like, well, how you pop up pregnant? Well, it was an accident. Bullshit. That's why the Chinese dude bounced on the chick in Thailand, gypsy class thinking. Yep, the Chinese don't play. That's why he bounced on her. Exactly. They won't help you because they're your enemy. No, basically, I guess so. If your master is your enemy, yeah. Okay. They think they own you. Okay. In fact, I might do that one tomorrow. Dennis Sperling did a video saying, going back to slavery, why black women think they own us. Okay. Why they think that we should, they should have power over us. Okay. And you hear it. That's why I said the whole thing with May when I was talking to her for like 3 hours, right? This mommy shit. Okay. Like, woman, you can't tell me you can't put fucking words in my mouth. Okay. You cannot tell me what to do. You can't tell me what I think. The whole thing was telling me what I should think. You can't tell. I'm not, well, I'm not your husband. We ain't lovers. We ain't never met. Okay. You cannot tell me what I should think. You can't tell me what my mission is. But black women, especially Southern black women, think that's their job, to boss you around. Men tell the most lies. I was at Tony's house. Women tell the biggest lies. This is your baby, Chris Rock. Facts. Escape the plantation if you can. You can. There's nothing holding you inside the plantation except you. And then your person got the link to Theo's Facebook. If you really want to escape bad enough, take it. Okay. Chief Rocker says, I don't care if you've been with your girlfriend for 3 months or 3 years. Don't believe that she would never get off that birth control to coerce you to marry her and or to fleece you for 18 years of your wages. It's called reproductive coercion, fellas. You know what? And Chief Rocker knows because Chief Rocker runs into that shit all the time. Chief Rocker probably tell you how many times a chick tried to baby trap him. And a lot of times they're not even pregnant, right? They will lie and say that they're pregnant so that you will let your guard down. Don't ask me how I know. Okay? They'll lie and say that they're pregnant. And so in other words, now you don't need to use protection because you're already pregnant, right? Okay. You don't know that she's lying. You don't know that she's lying. She wait until that one day when that one sperm hits that egg, and then that's when the clock starts. Then she got you. They play black women especially. Black women play the most games with their wombs of any probably group of women on the planet. Okay. And the state encourages all these baby games. Okay. That's how come when the welfare came in, all of a sudden black women are probably the worst hustlers. Okay. They womb hustle. Okay. Black men go out in the streets and hustle to make money. Black women go out and hustle their wombs to make money. Their wombs are worth more than their coochie. So even for married men, if you don't want any more kids, get them exactly. Get that vasectomy. I had girlfriends, man, get mad because I'm wearing a condom. But the thing is, because you want to get pregnant. Don't you trust me? Because they'll tell that to a black man in a minute. You must think I'm dirty. Because you must be messing around with somebody else because you wearing a condom. Anyhow, man, before I really get upset, let me get out of here before I start really ranting. That's all they have. They have to get a return on their investment. You ain't shit, Victory guy. Yeah, they don't hate condoms. They don't hate condoms. They want the option of trapping you into a relationship. Okay. They don't want condoms. Okay. If she try to baby trap you, that means she sees value in you. Yeah, my ex used to get offended at that. Yep. Black women, white women expect it. Black women and black men actually use more condoms than any other group. Okay. They did a survey, right? 60% of young black men use condoms, right? Only 30%. Only about 25-30% of white men use condoms. Okay, black men use condoms twice as much as white men. Why? Because white women can be trusted for the most part. Okay, for the most part, when a white woman says she's on birth control, she's on birth control. She's not trying to get shamed. Okay, black women don't have that uncta, right? Black women, you know, they get the most abortions and they have the most out of wedlock births. Make that make sense. Make that freaking make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay. A simp in the USA is a simp in the UAE. Fix yourself first. Bullshit, okay? Bullshit, okay? If you a simp, okay? Say you a simp in the USA, right? Okay? If you a simp in the USA, guess what? You're paying 100%, okay? If you're a simp in Brazil or a simp in Africa, you're paying 10 cents on the dollar. Okay. If you're gonna be a simp, make it worth your while. Maximize your money. I ain't no problem with you being a simp, but thing is, maximize your position. In other words, find the most favorable position to be a simp. It's much cheaper to be a simp in Ghana or Nairobi than it is in the United States. In other words, if you can't change your behavior or you don't want to change your behavior, okay, take it where it's actually affordable to be you. Saying that you got to correct yourself before you go overseas, no, you can correct yourself overseas the same way you do here. In fact, you might not even have to correct yourself. That's bullshit. Well, you got to prove yourself over here first and prove yourself here before you go someplace. That's bullshit. Nobody does that. Okay. Find the environment that rocks with you. Okay. You can't put a wrestler in a boxing ring. Okay. Or vice versa. Find the arena that best suits you. All that bullshit. Yeah. If you're gonna be this over here, you're just gonna be worse over there. That's bullshit. Okay. No, bullshit. Bullshit. I got too many people to prove it. Foolish advice. No, that's good advice, okay? Ask Patrice O'Neal, who was a simp, right? He went to Brazil. Changed his whole idea about how women are actually supposed to operate, okay? Ask Game Changer. Game Changer was a simp. He went overseas. Guess what? He has a completely different outlook on how women operate. So when you come back to the United States, you're not putting up with the same bullshit. Bullshit. I know too. I've done it. I've seen it. I have too many people that have done it and seen it. Okay, bullshit. You cannot prove your case, sir. Talking about he ain't got no proof. That's his idea. And I don't think he's a man. I think he's a woman, personally. Black women are ashamed of not being a baby mama in the U.S. No, they're not, because it's slave culture. That's what they were brought here for. I heard someone call it a buzzer beater. Baby. Yeah, that is. Yeah, when you're 35, that's a buzzer beater. And when you actually in 40 and go get that artificial insemination, that artificial implantation of that fetus, okay, that's called overtime. You can't prove shit, okay? Motherfucker, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for a long time. Trying to tell me that's bad advice from a wise man. Bullshit. I wouldn't give it to you. I've been giving you that shit for a long time. I got too many people that taking that advice and going out on the road and proving me right and come back. You know what, BGS? You fucking right. In fact, they leave as simps. They come back as men because now they know how they need to be treated. Because they get different treatment over there. They get submission. And in other words, if you're paying $1,000 a month to get submission here, okay, as a simp, and you go overseas and you're paying 50 or 100 a month to get submission over there, and you're getting 10 times the amount of value, okay? When you come back to the United States, you ain't putting up with that shit. I know. I talked to too many dudes that did it, man. I was like I always said. I was saying I was down there in Guatemala, right? I saw more submission and more contrition and more love and caring from women that lived in a fucking shack with her man, and about the fucking money. When I come back, maybe you couldn't tell me anything else about what you need to do to get a woman's submission. After that, you couldn't tell me shit. Because I seen it with my own eyes. Even though I knew it, I saw it with my own eyes. Okay. Y'all on some bullshit, okay, in the West. And the only reason that simps are simps is because they don't know any better. Once some simps find out a different way, guess what? They change because they're out of the environment. Okay, you can't learn something in the same environment that created you. You got to go outside the environment. That's like when they don't want you to go overseas. They don't want you radio and stuff back to the simps inside the United States. That's like when the simps are sitting on the couch. The simps are bailed out. The simps said, we ain't paying for this shit no more. That's how come the amount of simps is starting to drop, okay? It's because the information's out there. That's why they pissed at us. Anyhow, let me get out of here. Hey, man, but man, yeah, you're not getting emotional. You're spreading bullshit, DOS. That's why they call you DOS, okay? Spreading that bullshit, okay? Flying a chick out for two grand instead of getting on a fucking plane going to Colombia and getting 10 times the value. Makes no sense, okay? Dude, I grew up with professional tricks, okay? And them dudes know, okay, I'm willing to pay for this for a reason, okay? I know simps, okay? Because they will simp out and take care of a woman and her kids and the rest of her family because she's pretty, okay? I know better. So, motherfucker, why don't you just get on the plane? You can get twice as much. You get a woman that actually wants to do what you want her to do. Why pay 10 times as much for half for a tenth of the service? Don't make no sense. And that's what I'm telling you. We use that's what we ride against. People like that. See that they see this is why, okay. The thing is, they get their pockets ran, but they get more value. They don't get their pockets ran here. DOS. They don't get their pockets run here. They don't get babies put on them. They don't get paternity testing that's fucked up. Okay. They don't get their pockets ran here. Is that what you're telling me? Is it that our women are so virtuous that they wouldn't take advantage of a simp? Are you kidding me? No, I ain't funny. I don't. Of course you don't. Okay, nigga. Why don't you take a camera? Why don't you take a camera, get on one of them planes, you go out and prove it. Okay? I got too many cats coming back telling me different. Okay? I've seen it for myself. Okay? Not only black simps. Why do you think the educated simps, even if they want to be simps, go fly out the country? Okay? All over the world. Come in with that bullshit. Now people ask how come I preach this stuff all the time, okay? It's because guys like that with their rhetoric, okay, is the one you'll follow, okay? The one that you'll listen to, okay, and keep you trapped in this cycle. Okay. I'm telling you, get the fuck out this cycle. Okay. Get out, go someplace and judge for yourself. Judge for yourself. That's how come it's picking up steam. That's how come there's so many flights to Colombia nowadays. It's basically an industry in it of itself. Okay, and the proof comes back every day. Cats that we're over here worshiping mediocre pussy, which is simpletons, right? That's where simp comes from, simpletons, right? They believe the rhetoric because they've been trained to believe it. They go someplace else, they break out that measure. They take the red pill. It's gone, okay? And they don't like us breaking these simps, just like you. Panama, Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, Germany, thank God for the passport. Get off the plantation. Yes, sir. Got too many people telling me the same thing. You ain't got no proof, sir. If you get your pockets run, okay, guess what? You'll learn. He does sound like a chick. Anyhow, let me get out of here. Okay? Like you don't get your pockets run or get murked by these bitches here. Okay? Your eyes are much better and much clearer, and you have a better chance over there. A much better chance over there. Much better. And at least you get what you pay for over there. The thing is, a lot of guys that aren't simps believe that they're over there finding love. Okay, a lot of guys over there, and these are not simps; they're just regular guys. And the thing is, what they report back is what is actually on the ground, what it actually is, and how to merge inside that society. Most cats to get their pockets run are actually tricks. Okay, and they haven't learned the game over there. And most of those guys getting their pockets run are actually white people, believe it or not. But they don't care about them white boys when white boys get them pregnant and dump them and keep running. But we'll get to that in a bit. Anyhow, let me get out of here. I've been here long enough. I will see you guys. That's it. I noticed Mexico is not on the list of places. Okay. Johnny Anderson, you should know why, right? Okay. Out of the 20 cities that have the highest murder rate, okay, guess where the most are, okay? Out of top 10 of the most dangerous cities, right? Mexico has the top 5. Mexico is corrupt. Mexico has the top 5. That's how come they tell passport bros, unless you're careful, that is not the ideal place to actually land. Go someplace where it's safer. Even I told guys with Colombia. Colombia is an ex-narco state. Stay away from the tourist areas, okay? It's like anything else, okay? Stay away from the tourist area. It's an ex-narco state. You will get got. Just like in the United States, there's some places you should go, and some places that you shouldn't. And a lot of times you need to be there long enough to actually learn where to go and where not to go. But in Colombia, you have to really be careful because it's an ex-narco state. It's a lot of corrupt people. That spirit of corruption is still there in those people. So you got to really be careful in Colombia. Dirty cops, officials, narcos, all kind of stuff. That's why you don't go down there. The thing is, I had no problem with passport bros, okay? I had no problem with passport bros. Well, a lot of these guys want to sell these masculinity game theory shit, okay? The only way to learn game is anything else, right? Okay. Okay. You can read about it, but you got to get on the court and get your reps in. Okay? Got to get your reps in. You're going to learn. Okay? If you get your pockets run, you learn. You come back, you know what not to do. You're gonna learn. Just like you get your pockets run when they said I don't want a coffee date, and basically you spent $3,000 taking chicks out on dates and dinners and stuff like that, and got no punani. Okay, you learn. You just got your pockets run. When you get a false paternity charge, okay, and get the state puts you on child support, just got your pockets run. Well, we don't talk about that. Oh, that's not getting your pockets run. That's just you making bad decisions. Get the fuck out of here. That's why I'm playing this. And a lot of you see him. He's not a simp, okay? And he's blowing his mind. He's listening to black women tell him that they don't give a fuck about it because he thought that they didn't. Because you're trained to. Anyhow, let me get out of here, y'all, before I start ranting again. I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, DOS, get the fuck out of here. It should be DOA, dead on fucking arrival.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Музыка Денис Шедер.